Canon or Nikon, Sony or Fujifilm. Should I get a Leica? Maybe a Hasselblad would be good for my trip to moon this summer. Camera should I buy? Which camera should I buy? Which camera should I buy? Which camera should I? Hey people of the YouTube land, I am Rajat Shah and this is Shutterflix. So today I am gonna help you buy a camera. Now there are tons of cameras out there. I cannot draw a line between two cameras and say which camera is better because which camera you need to buy depends on tons of factors. Your budget, your usage, your needs and what kind of brand you like and many more. Now unlike other camera guides out there, I'm not gonna suggest you which camera to buy. Instead, I will help you understanding the factors on which you should decide which camera to buy. Also, do stay till the end for some of my personal recommendations. Check out my previous video to help you understand this video better as it's on topic starting photography. So, as I've said before, there are two major categories of camera, point and shoot and an interchangeable lens camera. There is a third, slightly less existent category of action cameras, but on that topic I will talk in some later on video. Today we're gonna focus on a point and shoot camera and a DSLR or mirrorless lens, interchangeable lens cameras. Now before I talk about the various types of cameras which are available in the market, let's talk about the various types of sensors which are available. Sensors are majorly classified on the basis of their size. So dividing on the basis of their size, there are two major categories: APS-C, which is known as the crop sensor, and a full frame, which is also known as a 35mm sensor. Now there are other sensors which are available, but these two are the ones which are more generally available, I say. Now what is the difference between these two? APS-C sensors on one hand, as the name suggests, it's a crop size sensor, so it's smaller in size, but the cameras which have APS-C sensors are cheaper than the full frame ones. Full frame sensors are of the size of those old film rolls we used to use. They are 35mm in height, so they are known as 35mm sensors. So full frame cameras are costlier, but larger the sensor, more area it has to capture light. So you will have to put less ISO in your camera settings. Speaking in simpler terms, less ISO means your photo would be less grainy. Apart from that, APS-C sensors have a crop factor because the sensor size is smaller. So like if I click an image in full frame and if I click the same image in APS-C, the image clicked by APS-C sensor would be cropped by 1.5 times. But on the other hand, APS-C sensors are much cheaper than full frames. Generally speaking, full frame sensors are of course better than APS-C sensor, but they cost more. Now there are other sensors available in the market such as Micro Four Thirds, medium format and APS-H, but these two are the more consumer oriented sensor sizes, and I guess APS-H is just provided by Canon. So that pretty much covers the various sensors that are available. Moving on to point and shoot or interchangeable lens camera. Point and shoot, as the name suggests, is used for pointing and then shooting. There is nothing less or more in that. It's just you point towards your subject, you zoom in or zoom out and then just press the shutter button. That's it. You need not bother about your shutter speed, you need not bother about your ISO, your aperture, your exposure, you need not bother about them all. It's like using your normal camera in auto mode, but it's lightweight, so it's more portable. It's great for quick clicking of photos, or if you want to vlog, you can vlog using that point and shoot camera. So this one I have here, it's quite small one, but there are other point and shoot cameras which are, some are made like a DSLR, so it gives you the feel. But majorly point and shoot cameras are designed in such a manner that they are highly portable. Like you just slip this one in your pocket and just go your way. Nowadays, point and shoot cameras are getting better day by day. They have included a flip screen in their point and shoot camera, so you can just hold your camera like this and flip up the screen so you can view yourself at the same time while you're using the point and shoot camera. And they also support 4K video recording, which is a great feature nowadays. Thanks for the notification. Yeah, so as I was saying, which is a great feature nowadays. You can shoot any video anywhere with professional grade quality. Oh, I forgot to tell one thing. These cameras are also available in APS-C or full frame sensor size. It's just the sensor sizes are not limited to interchangeable lens cameras. So the other set of cameras are the interchangeable lens cameras. As the name suggests, again, you can just change the lens as you want. Perks of having these kind of cameras is that they give you better control over your photos. They have specific buttons and dials which will help you, control the photo, control the aperture, control the shutter speed, control the ISO. And overall, it will help you control the exposure of the photo. You can also attach tons of lenses on your camera to give you again more control over your photo. As I have said in my previous video, interchangeable lens cameras are again categorized into two types of camera: DSLR and mirrorless. DSLRs have a mirror in them which will reflect light, and then through the pentaprism it helps you see through the viewfinder. Now DSLR has its pros and its cons. So the pros of owning a DSLR is that they are cheaper than mirrorless cameras, and their lenses are also cheaper than the lenses of a mirrorless cameras. But they are heavy, like heavier than mirrorless cameras. So while holding a heavy object, your hands are more stable. There would be less shake in your image, the less motion blur in your image. Apart from that, there are lots of options to choose from, as mirrorless technology is quite new to say, but there are still tons of great options of DSLRs to choose from. Sony, although has stopped manufacturing DSLRs at all, they just have mirrorless cameras. Like all of their cameras are now mirrorless. But Canon and Nikon still have some great options to choose from, so you can check them out. Now the cons of owning a DSLR is that they are old. The technology is old, so it's not as advanced as mirrorless cameras. But yeah, and the companies have now started to phase out the DSLR technology, and they have started to move on to a mirrorless technology. So in some time, Canon and Nikon will also stop manufacturing a DSLR. Now, being heavy is a pro and a con, because with a heavy camera you cannot hold it in your hand for long, or you cannot use it for vlogging. You can use a tripod if you want, but holding it in your hand for long will just hurt your arm. Moving on to mirrorless cameras, personally I believe that mirrorless cameras are the cameras of the future. I have never owned a DSLR. This was my first mirrorless camera, and it's Sony Alpha Nex 3, and this is one of the first few cameras which started the phasing out of DSLRs and moving on to mirrorless technology. Mirrorless cameras have a digital viewfinder at the top. This one doesn't because it's old camera, but the one I'm using has a digital viewfinder. The advanced camera processor has quite literally removed the lag between what you see in real time and what you see through the viewfinder. So that has sped up the process of moving from DSLRs to mirrorless cameras. Pros of owning a mirrorless cameras like the one I own is that it's better technology. It's the technology of the future, as I said before. Apart from that, you can click more frames per second in the burst mode. Like if you are clicking a fast moving subject and you just want to click a photo. So in a DSLR there is a mirror in between which will hinder the amount of times the shutter curtain can open and close, but in a mirrorless camera there is just the shutter curtain. So you can just press your button and continuously it will open and close. So like the camera which I own has 11 frames per second in its highest mode, while there are some better cameras available which go up to 20 or 21 frames per second. Apart from that, they are less bulky, they are compact and less bulky. Like a body of a DSLR, it has to fit a mirror in between, so it's made bigger. But these are like quite small. The one I own, it's just 400 grams. So like a typical phone is a 200 gram, and this is 400 gram. Apologies to those who are not living in the metric system. Looking at you, America. Just kidding. It's good for vlogs because it's not quite heavy, so you can just hold it in your hand and start shooting a vlog. I use a Gorilla Pod to hold it in one hand, and then on top of it I mount my camera and just I can go my way shooting. A DSLR has an optical viewfinder, but this has a digital viewfinder. That means that what all stuff you see on your digital screen on the camera, you can see the same in your viewfinder. You can see every detail on your viewfinder right there. So you need not bother again and again taking your eye out of the viewfinder and checking, okay, this setting seems great, then again going inside. You can actually view everything on your digital viewfinder. The modern technology has allowed, the faster processor has allowed to like literally remove the lag between what you see in real time and what you see through the digital viewfinder. So it's quite great for me. Now the cons of owning a mirrorless camera is that it's costlier. It's costlier than a normal DSLR camera, and lens is like kinda costly. For example, the Nifty 50, the basic 50mm lens with f1.8 costs for DSLR around $110, but for mirrorless it has costed me around $250. For me, I feel it's totally worth the purchase because DSLRs are gonna be, obsolete in some time, but this technology is here to stay. But for those who have a tight budget, I suggest go for DSLR, and later on when you are planning to expand, you can go for mirrorless. Apart from that, mirrorless technology is still new, so there are many options to choose from, but trust me, Sony has great selections in mirrorless cameras, so that is not actually a con for me. But for those who are like, I need tons of options to choose from, go for DSLR. In my personal opinion, I suggest that you go for a mirrorless cameras, because again, DSLRs are soon gonna be obsolete. It would just be like, the back in the days when there were film cameras and then DSLR came. So film cameras were gradually going out of culture, and the same thing is happening again. DSLRs are going out of culture. So now, what are the other things that you need to keep in mind while buying a camera? First things first, it's the budget. You need to keep your budget in mind, or else you would end up spending much more than you expected. It has happened to me. I planned on buying the Sony Alpha 6000. I ended up buying the Sony Alpha 6400. No, I'm not saying that I'm not happy with my purchase, but I spent double the amount which I was planning on spending on buying this camera. It's good, but again, you need to keep your budget in mind. Apart from that, you need to keep in mind the cost of accessories. Mirrorless cameras have costly accessories. Point-and-shoot cameras don't require accessories at all, and a DSLR have accessories, but it's cheaper than mirrorless cameras, so you need to keep that in mind too. Other thing you need to keep in mind is the purpose of buying that camera. If you're planning on buying a camera for photography, it would be a different selection of cameras. If you're planning to buy a camera for videography, it would be a different selection of cameras. For instance, if you're planning to buy a camera for vlogging, you need to make sure that it has a flip screen. Like this camera right here, it has a top flip screen. Some cameras have flip screen from the side, so you need to check that thing out, that while videography you need a flip screen, or else it would be quite hectic for you to shoot the shot. Next thing is megapixels. You cannot compare 24 megapixel in full frame camera with 24 megapixel in APS-C, as megapixel is not the only thing which decides which sensor is better. As I said earlier, full frame cameras are of course better than APS-C cameras. Well, if APS-C cameras have 24 megapixel and the full frame is having, let's say, 15 or 20 megapixel, full frame is definitely better than APS-C in that case. Your image quality depends on a lot of factors, and it's just not megapixel alone. It also depends on the sensor size and the size of the pixel. Like a typical phone has a smaller pixel size, but these cameras have a bigger pixel size. You might have heard of Xiaomi's new Mi 11 Ultra. It is having 108 megapixel camera, and my camera right here is having 24 megapixel camera. But because this camera has a bigger sensor size and bigger pixel size, this camera gives much better quality than the Xiaomi's Mi 11 Ultra. Last two things you need to keep in mind is the optical image stabilization. If you're planning on buying a camera for photography in low light regions, you will require a higher shutter speed, and in that case, if you move your camera, the image would have motion blur, which would be quite bad. So optical image stabilized cameras have the sensor with the technology to move around as you move the camera body, so it will help you take better photos even if your hands are not stable enough, as in my case. But the cameras which have OIS are costlier. Apart from that, you need to keep in mind the native ISO range of the camera. For instance, this camera has the native ISO range from 100 ISO to 25,600. Although nobody goes beyond 12,800 or something, but having higher native ISO range means that you can go up to much higher range of ISO without adding grain to your photos. Like if a camera is having a native ISO range of 51,200 and other camera is having a native ISO range of up to say 12,800. So in the 12,800 camera, you would barely be able to go about 30-200 without adding much grains to your photos. But a one with 51,200, you can go up to nearly 8,000 ISO, 12,000 ISO without adding much grains to your photos. So having a higher ISO means that you would be able to click better photos under low light. So some of my personal recommendations in cameras. If your budget is under $500, I recommend you to go for Sony Alpha 5100. It's an amazing camera, and if you can slightly increase your budget, you can go for Sony Alpha 6000, the camera which I plan to actually go for. If you don't want to go for an interchangeable lens camera and you are planning to buy a point and shoot in the same budget, I highly recommend you to go for Sony RX100. It's an amazing point and shoot camera with a flip screen, and it's great for vloggers with a 4K recording format. Now if your budget is slightly high, like if you can stretch up to $1,000 or $1,100, some great cameras are Sony Alpha 6400 is a good camera which I'm using, and I've been using it for 2 years and it still does not feel old. Like, it still feels like it's a fresh camera. I just bought it today. The technology is amazing. It has a super fast autofocus of 0.02 seconds, which is mind-blowingly fast. If you're not a big fan of Sony, amazing cameras are available in Canon and Nikon too. Like Canon has this amazing camera called Canon M6 Mark II. It's a good camera and it's worth every penny. I personally haven't used it, but I have read some reviews and even talked personally to some people who have owned the camera. They are quite happy with it. And for those who are fans of Nikon Z5 would be a perfect choice for you. Now, if you can stretch your budget a bit, then I would highly recommend you to go out from the APS-C region and go for a full-frame camera such as Sony Alpha 7 or Sony Alpha 9 or some good Canon or Nikon camera. I know all the cameras which I recommended right now are all mirrorless, but trust me, I believe mirrorless cameras are the best. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you loved it and I hope it was quite helpful to you. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe and support me. I will be extremely grateful for you. Thanks a lot, and do share and like this video. Thank you.